Hey, Coach. Yeah, I want to ask you about Luke Has. Not a lot of freshmen have started right out of the gate here at Arkansas, and he's listed as a starter. Just curious on the camp that he's had and everything he's done to this point to earn that right.
Well, ever since he came in here, he's worked his tail off. He loves football. His brother does too. I think had a lot to come from who raised him and coming from Bigsby High School. But he's a little older. He's strong. Can really run, and he's got wonderful hands. I mean, can catch everything. You guys have seen him in practice, can catch everything. But I think you have to, as a freshman, you have to bring in that kind of mentality, that work mentality and that physical play. Now he's going to be a much better player in 2 or 3 years than he is right now, but he's a fine player now because what keeps freshmen off the field is not knowing what they're doing or not physically able to do it or the development's not quite there as fast. But his has been ever since he's been here. And so really excited to see what he can bring to us, maybe an extra dimension that we possibly haven't in the past.
I think we could also expect to see Jalen Braxton some, but my question was about just other freshmen that we might see. I know safeties and linebackers or tight ends are popular on special teams and stuff. Just who else might we expect to see?
Yeah, true freshman wise, Brad Spence comes to mind at linebacker. Alex Sanford comes to mind if you're talking about special teams roles. Spence is going to be more than that, Trey. I think he'll play quality minutes at linebacker. Quincy Rhodes is a guy that's going to play. Ian Griffard is going to play. Quincy could work his way up. I mean, I think he's really a special talent. In the back end, you had already mentioned Alex Sanford. You'd already mentioned Jalen Braxton. I'm looking over there to see TJ Metcalf. TJ Metcalf of B1. Offensive line, probably not there. You talked about tight end, running back, probably not yet, even though we're really pleased with Isaiah. Quarterback, Malachi's done a really good job. And then wide receiver, you're going to see both of them, James and Dozier. They're in our top 6 wide receivers. You'll see both of them.
Well, when you talk about that defensive line with 9 seniors and stuff, what does it say about Gifford and Rhodes that they may be able to make some noise there?
Well, we hit. They're both really good players, both great kids, know how to work. And the thing with Ian, I mean, he was a biscuit away from 400 this summer, and he never missed a rep, never missed anything. And that's hard to do now at that kind of size, and so that tells a little bit of his makeup. But you're 100% right, and Quincy Rhodes is just in my opinion, a special talent.
Thanks, Coach.
Bob. Hey Sam, how you doing?
Bob.
I wanted to ask you about Patrick Kudus. Kind of camp he's had. He's obviously going to be at a key spot for you. How's he doing? What are you looking for out of him?
Really good camp, very athletic. We moved him late, I believe, in the spring to tackle. We need to see solid consistency there, which is hard to do, at that spot. But very, very talented, very strong. And so, obviously we recruited him. That's how smart we are. Recruited him as a defensive lineman, and going to become one of our better offensive linemen, I believe. But he's very strong, very competitive, tougher than a billy goat. Just a guy that I think the future is really bright there.
And then looking at the depth chart for Western Carolina, I was kind of surprised to see how big their offensive linemen were. I mean, they're, if you didn't know, but you'd think, wow, that looks like an FBS team, bunch of 300-pound guys. One of their tackles is 6'8". Well, wonder what you think about that.
Yeah, they're really good too. I think they're probably, average about 305, 307 pounds across there. I listened to a little bit of what Coach Bell said about it. He's very, very excited about his line, and he thinks, I believe he said maybe 2 or 3 of those guys could have a chance to play on in the NFL. I was, everybody seemed to be bigger nowadays and all that, but they certainly have a line that could match up size-wise with a lot of teams that we play this year.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, Sam, speaking of the offensive line, on the teleconference this morning, you mentioned you feel good about 8 guys and that you'll play more than usual and that you have been. What does that look like? Do you have like a set rotation, like this guy's going to go in this series, or how do you go about that?
Well, I think some of those comments come out of we've had some injuries, therefore part of it they've earned some of that. Part of it we owe them opportunities to play, because of some of the injuries. Now we wouldn't throw them out there just because somebody's been injured if we didn't think that we could win with them. Let's get that straight. But we have, with Wiggins, he's played left guard and center. With Chamblee, certainly, in my opinion, he's been one of the bigger bright spots of camp. Then you go with Tykees Crawford. He might be in that same category. And injuries certainly gave us an opportunity to look at them with a different group, look at the ones and all this. I'm still just excited as I can be about Devin Manuel. But we found some more guys, and I don't know if it's because our eyes open and looked at them differently. I don't know. I really don't. But I am very confident going into it that we have 8, and I think I'd feel the same way about Amarian Harris, except he's been injured here lately. We got him back yesterday.
And if everybody is healthy, do you envision you playing multiple, like rotating guys in, as the season progresses? Like, is there a benefit to that, or do you want to find this is my 5 and they're going to play every rep as long as they're healthy?
No, I would rather be the opposite, what you mentioned first, to be totally honest with you. There's obviously guys that, are just better than everybody else up there or have the separation. But if they don't have separation, I don't know how you figure out which one of them is the best if you don't get them in the game and let them have at it. And so I think we're that way, in all honesty, with at least 3 positions up there. And so we just got to go find out and see who the best guys are. And then eventually, maybe by mid-season, by, start SEC play, hopefully we could cut that down. And if nobody's separated, we'll continue to go ahead and play 7 or 8.
Evan.
Yeah. Hey, Coach. One of the big things that you started today was obviously all of the freshmen. And now looking into it this season, you have a lot of returners on your roster, specifically, experience with KJ and Rocket. How do you believe that experience will help this season?
I think, to be honest with you, I think it's helped us since January simply because we had so many new guys. You had 38 new guys, and you have to have somebody inside your program that believes in you and believes in what you're doing and believes in how you're treating or respecting the team when those guys come in. Because if you don't, it could be a madhouse. It could be going everywhere. So, with KJ and Rocket and you could go on and on about the returner guys. They certainly had a great importance. They've gotten better. Now, whether that's strength-wise and the mind, they fit our system better, whatever it may be. They've gotten better. And Jaden Johnson and Jaden Wilson, those 2 guys were guys that I thought were pretty good last year, and now I think they're really good. So they've obviously changed as well, what their mind's telling them. But to be honest with you, the core of our team was the guys that we had, as you mentioned, and we'll go rock with those guys, and then the new guys certainly going to help us.
Got it.
Yeah, Sam, we talked to Tank Booker last week. He said his transition here was pretty smooth. I'm wondering how you maybe saw him operate when he got here to make that transition smooth.
Tank's personality would allow him, in all honesty, probably to have a smooth transition a lot of places. You know, I appreciate him saying that here, but he had something to prove. You know, going to the SEC. You know, that was something there. But he came in, didn't say a whole lot. People respect what you do, not necessarily what you say. In the beginning, once you do something, then they'll expect the words coming out of your mouth. And I thought he came in, went to work, and didn't say a whole lot. And then the kids started noticing him, and obviously we did as well. And then he's become a little more outspoken. He's not ever going to go up and, give the public address. You know, that's just not his personality. But I think he's going to do all his talking physically how he plays.
You said Monday that Western Carolina likes to throw a lot of bubble passes at defense. I'm curious what the key is to maybe being able to defend that quick pass game effectively so early in the year.
I don't know if it was part of our practices whenever. Yeah, I'm sure it was, but we started a lot of our practices this year with the bubble drill, and obviously we want to get better at it offensively, but we're going to have to defend it a lot. I think Western Carolina does as good a job as anybody will play throwing the bubble screens, the intermediate, shorter passes. And not to say they don't do the long, but the deep ball well. I'm just saying they do a great job with that bubble intermediate range. So we put it as an emphasis we're trying to start fast. So we're trying to do something physical at the beginning of practice as much as we can in a team-oriented thing. Now, the bubble necessarily wouldn't be, but fastball starts would. So we would try to do both those things because we're trying to do something right out of the gate to say we want fastball starts. We want to start fast. But to answer your question, they are good at the bubble screen, and we've gotten a lot of good reps trying to defend it.
Mason.
Yeah, Coach, I was just wondering with Jashad Stewart, is it still the heel that's bothering him?
Yes, and I don't know that he's going to be able to play Saturday, to be perfectly honest with you. But yes, it's just been nagging him for a while, and I would guess he's probably about 75 or 80%. And to be perfectly honest with you, it doesn't matter what the name of the team we played. I just don't think it would benefit him or us for him to play at this time on Saturday.
And then all of your openers as the head coach at Arkansas have been in Fayetteville. I'm just curious if there's anything that you've, done differently to prepare with it being in Little Rock this week.
We really haven't, except for the fact that all of we flip when we play on artificial turf, we flip practice fields. One day the offense will be on the grass and opposite, and then the next day they'll be all our good on good, all our kicking, all that has been on our practice turf. So we have done that, but other than that, we haven't really talked a lot about it. On my Friday talk to the team, I will talk about the history of War Memorial and the history of the team going to Little Rock, so the kids will know it's a big deal. And they need to know it's a big deal to me, and they need to know it's a huge deal to the state of Arkansas.
Wrap us up, Otis.
Coach, this morning on the teleconference, if I understood you right, you said you had some players that were out for the season. I knew about Bakke. Was there anyone else that you can say?
Yeah, I'll tell you whatever you want to know, Otis. You're a good man.
Well, I figure you may have already told us. I probably missed it.
I'm looking up there. Quincy McAdoo, obviously.
Right.
Don't believe he'll quite. Terry Wells, he had the pec surgery at Bakke. That would be it as of right now, and that's it.
Yeah, those were the three I knew about. I just making sure that I and missed it. Okay, kind of playing off what Hutch asked you earlier about he talked about the offensive line, playing more players, but his threat, the transfer portal, or even the thread, the transfer portal, maybe more so, force coaches to maybe play a few more players than you would have otherwise, instead of just saying you're going redshirt?
Well, I think I'd be lying if I didn't tell you it was always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
The other part about it is too, if you really think about it, D linemen, they have responsibilities as well. And we play 8, they rotate basically on 4s. You know what I mean? I've always been a guy that wanted to play my best 5 and wanted to play them all the time. I don't know that helps you in the future of development, whether you're talking about the portal or not. But to be perfectly honest with you, I'd be lying to you if I told you the answer to that was no, because I think there's a lot to nowadays with, you don't get suspended a year, in the portal. So yeah, I think that's always something to think about. In this case, I think it's just earned reps, to be perfectly honest with you.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck and safe travels.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Go Hogs.